So one of the notes I had here is an elevator pitch for MoM. What is MoM? Like, if someone's looking at this game, before we start into all these like advanced topics, what is Million on Mars? And how would you describe it to somebody like quickly? Like if you had 60 seconds to explain to a friend passing by, what would you say?
So when I've ever explained it to friends who are also gamers, I just call it a city builder.
Hmm,
Just go straight. It it has variations on that, but largely it is.
I like that. That was
Yeah, I
actually
usually
short and
use
sweet. Hmm.
yeah, I use their verbiage that's like, the same thing, like a play to own game, resource managing, things like that. Web3 gaming, something that just kind of keeps it simple. And if people don't know what that stuff is, then it gives them something to look for. So, just keep it to the NFT play to own conversation, and don't really go too into depth because somebody told me when I first was getting into it, they're like, "Hey, this is very vast. Just go check it out. Go watch some videos online, and
Hmm.
see where that goes." So that's where I started. I kept it very simple, and I just kind of went through it at a little bit at a time.
Makes sense. Would you agree to that, Thinker?
Yeah, I mean, the thing I tell people is it'll be as simple or as complicated as you want it to be.
Hmm. That sounds good. Now, let me just do this follow up. Now, this was last on the list, but why do you play MoM? And let's start with Felix. No time to think.
So
Sorry,
yeah,
take your time. Take your
no,
time.
no. So it's interesting because it's not the same as when I started.
Okay.
So I started by looking at the Dusk chart and trying to look at all the sort of various wax games out there, and I got really bored with everything just folding on me instantly. So
Hmm.
you'd look at a project, and by the time you got to any sort of, well, I'd done a week in it, it was already on its downward slope and it was already on its way out. And I looked at MoM, and it was super stable, and that's what got me into it. I wanted something I could play, something I could enjoy, and something which I felt confident was going to be around. And I'm into it, and I'm enjoying it now. I really like a lot of what's going on in the community, and that's why it's changed. I'm playing much more for the game now, and certainly much more for the community. I really
Hmm.
enjoy the community around the game, um, and the interaction with the devs and the teams and other players. For me, that's what's kept me in it, and that's why I play it. But the original thing was, yeah, I wanted a NFT game which I could maybe earn a little bit on the side, and I wanted to build something for the future, and hopefully it'll be worth a lot more then. But yeah, so it's the only game I've ever found where I looked at it and thought, do you know what, this is going to be
Hmm.
around for more than 5 minutes.
Very nice. Well said. I think for me initially, community, because I think we started talking about like having a guild and having like the settlement stuff that was coming out. I think I joined right around the time where that idea was getting pretty close to launch. And I like the idea of having a guild in a game that's like in the NFT space. You don't see a lot of that. Usually it's a lot of like by yourself, no community involvement. Everyone's kind of
Mm.
out for their own blood, basically. And I don't know. It just seemed like it was going to be a very cool game, and it kind of turned into basically a lot of content for me because some games it's like how much more can you say? Like you mine your gold, you get your food, and you get your whatever it is in that game. Like most play to earn games are kind of very simple. There's like three parts at best, and this game has just an array of things that you could talk about or do, and it's only getting deeper, like as far as what they have to offer. So I'm grateful for the content.
Right
So
on.
yeah.
Same for me, like kind of with what you both said, and like more as well what Felix was saying. Community number one, and having that stable game. Same thing. I was on Wax end of 2021, and I would find things that would be cool. You'd get into, and then just fizzle out, or people in the community would just like trash talk it, and then things would just disappear. So for me, that was number one: having a community, a stable, dev team, a stable game,
Hmm.
and that's exactly what MoM is. And I do play it for the future. I'm really focusing in on what I can do now that can just kind of stockpile things up and then put me in the direction where I want to go, and then have some kind of benefit or yield down the road that I can also put into it. And again, like Felix said, have something that you can earn a little money off to the side. I don't need to pull out money every single week. It would be nice to have something that you could say, hey, look, go do this for all of our hard work. So
Hmm.
that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Sounds good. What about you,
For
Thinker?
me, it was actually because of Mitch. Um, I first met Mitch back when he was playing Lost Relics. I'm not sure if he still plays Lost Relics, but then at that point, he he was like, "Hey, anybody want to play Alien Worlds?" He had a land in Alien Worlds and go mine on Alien Worlds in between Lost Relic runs, and then he talked about this project he was working on, something interesting, and I was like, "Oh, I'll check that out," right? Because I was, in his Discord and having, enjoying the company there. So that's why I started. Not looking for like an investment or anything of that sort. It's just like, oh, here's a cool new game that's just getting started. I can get in from the beginning, see how it progresses, and I knew somebody who was developing the game, so
Hmm.
that's where I came at from. It's a game, right? It has some neat aspects to it, with the play to own stuff.
Hmm.
But primarily from my point of view, it's like, oh, it's a cool, new, interesting game.
Nice. I like that. The longer I've been here, the more I realize like I'm kind of like just it's about the team like right now. Like I really like the team. I like, what they're going for. I like their heart. Um I like that they're full time, you know. That's hard to find. It seems like a lot of these other games are just kind of hobbies for, for some of these builders, and this one is actually they have some full-time staff. So it's nice to see that. We definitely see that with how fast the updates come out. It's just great, And I think that's one thing people like want to get in these games, and it's like, oh, this game could pump or whatever. They don't even consider the team really. And I think you should do the opposite. You should consider the team before you get into the game because there's a lot of sketchy stuff out there. So
Yeah, and I
yeah.
think it's something which is largely underestimated with MoM because it has a very big team reality. You've got the
Hmm.
Philippines, you've got Ukraine, you've got Mitch, you've got Eric, and the rest of the guys in the US, and you kind of think, well, when I look at some of these other projects, they might have one dev, might have two,
Hmm.
tops you might have three, and you can see how much effort these guys put into it to try and get it all going and working and stable and all the rest of it. You think, how on earth are these other games ever anticipating surviving with just so little overhead?
Hmm.
It is a real problem. And certainly, I've looked at some of the others in the wax space, and they've kind of said, look, we're going to go to 3 devs or 4 devs from the one which was part time before. You think you don't stand a hope in hell, really don't. You're misjudged what you're trying to chew,
Hmm.
and the MoM team have just hit it bang on. They've got the right developments in the right places and are making the right choices. So yeah, I think it's largely not appreciated how
Hmm.
good the back development team of this is.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think so too. And like, I know obviously times are kind of like, we're in this bear market and it kind of sucks for everybody, but I think the team is what's going to pull you through. Having the right team, doing the right things. Right now, they're pouring a good foundation in the game with like some of the skill changes and things. We just lost one, but okay, welcome back. I think he'll be back in a second. But yeah, no, I think this is the right team to kind of just kind of wait. Eventually the markets are all going to pick back up and things will be looking good again. And as far as the game goes, I'm not really too concerned because the team is the right team. So, but
Yeah,
yeah, we
they're
lost you for a
making they're
second there.
making moves.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay, no, you're good.
They're making good moves. I mean, even if
Mhm.
like there's something that needs to be done and they try and correct it, at least they're doing something that can kind of have some kind of potential to help it. Like, recently, like today with the chapters, doing a dusk only
Mhm.
buy. That's really good to help, bring that dusk price up. So, they're doing the things that they need to do. And to go back to what you're saying, the team, that's really what's going to pull you through because they could be like, "Oh, it's not working," or "This happened, oh, forget it," or "This person's saying this and that. Let's just kind of
Mhm.
cool it down and forget it." But they're just going right on through, and that's to be, commendable right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think we're gonna lose Felix again. But let's see. Let's grab a different topic while that gets sorted. Um, electrical update. Now you have skill-based breakage. That's kind of neat. I know some people have talked about it before. I think maybe loosely in the guild we've kind of mentioned it would be kind of cool if maybe your skills did come into play in some way. And now we actually have that in game. So that's kind of neat. Did you guys see that update?
Yeah, so when you mentioned it, I was like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" And then I kind of remembered vaguely hearing about that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's cool. I think that having things more skill based. I was watching a video of somebody, and they're like, "Oh, this isn't really a skill based game," and I'm like, they're making it skill based inside the game to upgrade your own skills. And as a player, it's like you have to have some kind of skill, as in managing skills, or as in putting this together with this equals this skill, like building stuff in your mind. So you have to have some type of skill. So it makes sense that, hey, if you're smart enough to run your electrical thing, or if you're smart enough to run this process in a way, you're going to level your XP up, and there should be rewards for that. Whether it's the breakage thing, or even in scavenging, you've got different levels there. So I think it
Mm-hmm.
just goes along suit with what they're doing.
It also goes back to the point that um, the higher you level the skills, the more reward you should get for it, which is a time investment thing. It's not necessarily about the amount of dust that you can throw at it. You need to do activities. You need to be on top of what you're doing, and that rewards the long-term player. It's not just an instant thing where you just fire up a whole load of um, accounts and you can just max it all out yourself. That would be prohibitive.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, it's not even that big of a penalty if you're not, right? It's went from 2 to 4%, and
Mm-hmm.
will probably hardly be noticeable for most people. The people who still say I should be breaking 4% and they get like 10 broken cells in a row or something are gonna complain that the breakage rate is higher than it should be, but that's just how RNG works sometimes. But it's still not that bad for somebody who is not who decides not to level electrical, right?
Right.
You're just picking on me there. I'm going to break the 10 cells and you're going to break the one because you're going to steal all the good RNG and I'm going to get the rubbish end again.
I mean, well, that's natural, right? It's fine.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
thanks.
I think it should help the like empty and full cell market a little bit too. Like maybe not a ton, but it'll help some. Whether it stabilizes it or it costs more or whatever. But I don't think it's going to be like massive. Just a little helpful.
I was thinking the same thing. It might kind of add a little something to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I must admit the market's worrying me a little bit at the moment because everything is on a downward trend. Everything is getting cheaper. And that does worry me a little bit. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
whether I should be or shouldn't be.
I don't know. Roasted coffee is making a climb lately, and full power cells are coming up like today. There's been some good jumps today.
Okay.
Nothing
Yeah, I must.
crazy, but
Yeah.
I
You,
think
you
it.
just. Sorry, thinker.
Go for it.
No, I was just gonna say it's just like anything, right? Things go up and down with different changes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just sort of you can't have it all go up forever, right? At some point, things just.
No, I appreciate that. It is just much more is that I don't see anything going up at the moment. That's the concern. If we had a few bits, and maybe yeah, we've seen roasted coffee go up a little bit, but certainly when you look at brewed coffee, that's well down from where it was. And I think it is just a changing environment, and I get
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah, it was like
But
9-10 before. Now it's like 7 today, but it did hit like 6.5, so it's like up one dusk.
yeah, and
Over the last
hopefully
couple days.
we are seeing things turn around a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
that'd be really nice. But certainly things like power cells when they were up at what 13, 14, and they're now
Mm-hmm.
well down.
Well, I
So
think also it has to do with the amount of available labor to produce those things, right?
mhm.
Because they went up a lot because there weren't enough electrical people to charge power cells and do those things. So it made it, you know, went up higher. Just the amount of people probably making coffee and that thing weren't as available, and now there's more people doing it. So as the price of labor to make those things go down, the price of those things also come down, right? We can charge power cells now for close to or less than 2 dusk a cell for like charge power cell 2 or so,
Mhm.
getting back down, fairly low. So I mean, it makes no sense that you would have that be higher than just buying the power off the market. So
Yeah.
things just have to come down because labor is cheaper.
Yeah, and the delta between
Yeah.
the empty and full is still the same. Like it's still like the 2.5 or near 3 sometimes, depends on, what day. But so that's good. At least it's still profitable to like make cells and sell them or whatever, if people do that or not. But
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So let's see here. What do you guys think about we got what? The Gen 3 crafting is coming in more, fabrication, machining skills. We all know that we can create buildings with those. We got the tool packs coming in, epic blueprints, legendary and mythic coming in. Very high
Yeah.
levels for that, but yeah, we're starting to get that control, the player crafted stuff.
Yeah. I suppose I don't really know what I want. It's a
Hmm.
little bit of a sort of devil's situation for me here because I want to see some really cool, interesting loops come out. I want to see some variety, and I think we're going to see it in machining.
Yeah.
And those parts which are coming out, I think, are going to be really interesting. And I kind of do want some more profitable loops. I don't want them to be
Hmm.
massively profitable. I don't want problems with Dusk again because we're
Right.
working really hard to clear all that problem out.
Hmm.
But yeah, it would be nice to have some really nice alternatives for new loops which I can enjoy and really sink my teeth into. Um, yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, and if
some
some people don't know, there's like a massive list of new parts coming out. Some of them are copper based, some are steel. It looks like ball bearings and things like that. There's a new glass panel. I think a lot of it's going to tie into like the smelter and machining side of it. Maybe some new parts needed to make rovers. I don't know, but
yeah,
should be pretty cool. I think it'll be nice.
yeah. I'm looking forward to it. It should be quite exciting.
Hmm.
For me, it feels the first time we're having a bit of a major overhaul as to what recipes are out there. We've had kind of drip feeds going on with right buildings or whatever, but I think we really need a new wave of what drives people to own a lot more buildings. Um, and I'm hoping that this is going to give it to us. Um, it will obviously be the tip of the iceberg, and that we'll see a lot more come. But I think it's the first time we've had a really good shake-up of those recipes and those loops, and
Hmm.
yeah, it feels all quite new and exciting.
Yeah, it's making machining interesting. I don't know about you guys, but I'm like, I never wanted to do anything else besides chem and life science, but now I'm like, ooh, do I want to go fab and machining? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm starting to look at other things too. Maybe I'm getting that fear as I get closer to 100. Once you pass 100, it's like you marry that skill, right? So I don't want to be locked out. Oh, you're back. Okay, now I gotta look this way. So, okay, so
I'm hoping my connection is going to be
yeah,
stay stable.
I'm starting to get like some FOMO with skills. Like I know what I want to do, but I'm kind of flirting with some of these other things. Like, oh, I could do machining. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you guys are feeling that too, but I'm getting some of that. Like, it's like that meme where that guy's looking back at the other chick, but he's with the chick. That's kind of what's going on. I'm like, ooh, machining is looking pretty good. Smelters looking like it's getting some recipes. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, dude. I fired up my smelter in my machine shop, so I've been doing the same thing. I mean, not getting FOMO, just really looking to expand. My electrical's up. I just leveled up my chemistry. I've got to do my life science, and I'm like, what else do I really want? And to kind of go back to what you're saying about the player crafted buildings, that's where every game kind of wants to get in that sweet spot of where the players are in control. So I think that they're just opening the door for that, and it's cool to see and be part of. And then, I also want to be part of that space as well. So I got to do the necessary things, and not to mention that there's going to be new gates coming for those mining and machining things. So might as well start, doing as much as you can right now with that. Anyways, that's where I'm at. So
Can I be really contentious?
no.
Can
Yes,
Oh, okay, go
I'm
ahead.
that's
going
Go
to
why we
ahead.
try it.
do this. That is why we do this. Go for it.
I'm getting to the opinion that making buildings is going to be a bit of a fool's errand.
Hmm.
And the reason being is the actual supply of it is probably going to be quite high because everybody wants to make buildings. It is kind of like, do you know what? That's the cool thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of feeling at the moment that actually, if you don't do that, if you go for something else, there's going to be some really nice loops. And I am guessing, really guessing a lot. But
Right.
if you took some of the more unusual ones, maybe like life science and mining, and you took that to 150 or 200, I think that you're going to be in such a small pool of other players that you can pretty much do whatever you like to do. Because
Mm-hmm.
in reality, machining's tools and buildings, fabrication was the first skill out the door, and it was the one
Right.
which everybody wanted to make buildings. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like you said, once you get to 100, you've put so much money into it. Doing anything else is kind of foolish.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to end up with all the initial players who wanted to do something really cool to start with. They're all in fabrication. And for me, I think, well, you can follow the herd or you can set out in your own trajectory. And yeah, I just think that somebody who specializes not in buildings and just gets what he wants, because you're not going to buy that many buildings,
Right.
really. You probably can do it 2 or 3 times or 4 times.
It depends who you are.
Yeah.
I bought a lot of
But
buildings. I don't know.
you can only use so many. Yeah.
That's another question.
Unless
How many can you use? It's a lot.
I want to do the tools. That's what I want to make the tools. I think that's going
Yeah.
to be key right there. Making tools and stuff. Just being able to fab that stuff. Yeah.
but it's all machining now, isn't it? I think.
I'm not sure on that.
Well, the higher level tools will be machining, but
Hmm.
like the lower level tools are sticking where they are, I believe. But one thing that I'm interested in is what are going to be the interesting synergies between the professions as more and more stuff comes out for them, right? As things get tweaked,
Right.
and just new things get introduced, right? At one point,
Mm-hmm.
you know, fabrication looks good right now, or you might be thinking, okay, well, fabrication is all buildings, right? But what happens when you need to have spaceports and mining on asteroids, right? How is that going to change the profession, or the fabrication profession, right? What is life science going to look like? What is any of these professions that now kind of look like they're sort of dead endish, maybe? What are they going to look like as more things get introduced into the game? Because I don't think they're ever going to let professions just die out or be like, you know, they'll just
Mm-hmm.
be forgotten because they were like the first ones that they added stuff to, right?
Right.
They're always constantly going to be tweaking and adding stuff and
Yeah.
seeing new things that, you know,
Yeah.
we just had no idea, right? It's like, oh wow, it's like I was not expecting that to be there, and that's so cool. Now you sort of renew your love for the profession that you chose.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it's going to be interesting to see the new synergies with, as stuff just keeps coming out and keeps getting reworked.
I mean, I think Mike is
Mm-hmm.
right. You want a profession which has got a consumable. I mean, the tools are the consumable.
That's
I
true.
mean, it's an infinite demand in reality for those products. There
Hey,
isn't for
calm
buildings.
down. You're nerfing tool prices. They're going up now as we speak. Watch out.
Yeah. Don't expose his loop.
Yeah,
Come
well,
on, Felix.
but I mean, Thinker's also right. You've also got to play the game for the future, and you don't know
Mhm.
what's around the corner.
Yeah, like
And
mining.
I mean, well, mining might be another one,
Mhm.
but life science is definitely in that bracket. Food and water
Mhm.
is an infinite supply, and yes, demand may outstrip or things may change, and all it takes is one task which says, "Do you know what? You need loads of steel for this task, and it's going to give you an awful lot of payback." And then suddenly steel's in massive demand, and that skill's going to go through the roof. It doesn't take much to shift them. But for me, you do want something which has got a consumable item at the end of it. If you want to have a task purely focused on dusk, I mean, it does go back to this thing which says do a skill which you quite enjoy. I mean, I like robotics. I like
Mhm.
that. I like mining and the whole thing about doing sort of asteroid mining later on. I think that's quite cool.
Yeah.
I think that sounds quite good fun.
Yeah. And what pairs with mining? You know, like I don't know.
Well,
Like life
mining's
science
just
and
that.
chem, they're real connected. Life science and chem, and then like,
That's because of coffee.
and then what's
But yeah,
mining, and then like aerospace. Isn't that a thing too? I know some artisans have like an aerospace skill. Maybe it's a artisan only kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's the next thing that they're coming out with is the aerospace space thing. I have
Okay.
one with the aerospace, yeah.
Hmm. Felix, you just disappeared again.
Oh, my camera just died.
Yeah, it said looking for phone. There's a cat on the screen. We got invaded by a cat,
Yeah, sorry about
but
that. Let me charge it for a
it'll
bit.
be pretty cool. I think machining, like I don't know, they've been doing some things recently, and then, like machining is starting to look good. So I think we can expect more of that for for mining and maybe even some other loops too.
But
Life science. I think life science tops at like 60 right now, I believe. So like, what's the future for that? I think that Felix was alluding to that. Definitely needs some more on the top end, but we'll see what happens.
I mean, they're
Uh,
all being generated, aren't they? I mean,
Yeah.
none of them have got anything over 150, and it goes up to 200.
Mhm.
So we are going to see a lot more for all of them.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
but
And
it,
I think it just goes back to the thing that I always tell Felix, which is what he just said, right? It's like pick something that you enjoy doing,
Yeah,
right? It doesn't all have to be about what is going to get me the most dust right now, because things are going to change. So if
that's
you
true.
pick a skill that you enjoy and then you like the idea of, right? You're
Hmm.
more likely to be satisfied when things change than when you're choosing something solely for the dust profit.
yeah, I think
yeah.
that's really sound advice. Because don't forget, anything up to 100, you can do all of them. So
That's true. Which is most
that's not,
skills. Like
yeah,
99% of the skills in game can be done by if you have the skill.
yeah.
You
So
know,
you're not making decisions about anything sub 100.
right?
Is where do you take the stuff above 100? And for
Hmm.
most players, that's a long, long way off because it's really expensive.
Right.
But in reality, that's where you've got to be aiming as you play this game over 6 months or a year or whatever is what is the fun thing that I do and what is the skill that I'm going to take above 100? Um,
Hmm.
yeah. And it will change and you will end up with a buff at some point. Um, and I think focus is definitely the name of the game.
Makes
Yeah, you
sense.
gotta stay focused, be consistent, like Thinker was saying, it can't all be about like, "Hey, what's the profit on this thing?" Because things change, like you said, like, I'm doing something right now, like we were talking before we went on,
Hmm.
doing the PVC loop, extruding PVC pipe for Fab XP. That's just something that I saw and I did. And PVC and all that stuff, is it really worthwhile right now? Not really. I mean, if I just stock that stuff up, if I use the regular PVC sheets, extrude the PVC for the Fab XP, I can just stock up on PVC, and who knows, maybe something down the road comes out and all of a sudden that gets popular, or maybe I can just use it as a buffer in between something else, sell a little bit here, do some PVC transport or whatever becomes profitable in the future. You got to kind of
Hmm.
focus on what you want and then do a few things that can be profitable, obviously, and then do the things that you need to build with that profit to get you to where you want to go.
I like it. Now, how about a little controversy?
Oh, go on
Habitat
then.
nerf.
Ugh.
Huh?
BNB,
How you guys like the habitat nerf? Me, as a person who doesn't own the habitat, I love it. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But
you're
Get
completely
out of
fine with
here.
it.
I don't own a habitat though, so I don't have a horse in this race, as they say. Who has a
Oh,
horse
not
in this
too
race?
many.
Who's got a habitat?
I got
Me.
a I got a few, yeah.
Okay, so what's going on, guys?
I've been doing the Mars B&B, so I haven't. I just did the last one before they flipped this over. I mean, I
Hmm.
don't know yet. I don't know what to say about that. That's kind of like for me a more high stakes thing. I don't really do it all the time unless I've got the extra food and water and vibes and stuff. Actually, it even comes down to the bizarre tokens too. So there's a lot in that recipe, kind of. But if you're doing stuff on the background, you can kind of get it easily. So I don't know where it's gonna go. Like I said, when nerfs happen, I just kind of focus on something else for a little bit and then see what I can do in between and see what happens.
Phew. So I'm in the camp where I get it. I know why they did it. Man,
Right.
I hate it
Okay.
because it was my major source of income.
Mhm.
Um, and I was getting what 3, 4K a day from it. It was big,
On
and
the
that's
Mars
why
B&B, is that what it
on
was?
Mars B&B, yeah.
Yeah. How many habitats are you running?
I've got 35 tasks, so
Nice.
I've got quite a few.
Wow.
Uh, but I get it, and for me to be generating that, there's a lot of people out there with more than I've got, so they're pulling in quite a lot. So I get the nerf. It needed it, but in reality, yeah, it's hit my income hard, and I'm having to look for other loops. I mean, there is still good stuff in the habitats, and I think that they will probably get a little bit of attention at some point as well. But yeah, it does it does support a lot of other markets because I was buying so much food.
Oh yeah, food and
Because
water, right?
food and
Oh
water,
yeah, like
Yeah.
crazy.
yeah.
And now they
So,
wanted to, up the
Mhm.
vibes, so they added vibes to it. So it's like,
Mhm.
that the vibe price has kind of stabilized over the last week, or it's kind of bumped up a little bit since they made that change. But they're, obviously seeing that it's helping, so they even up the vibes a
Mhm.
little bit more, and the food more. So I don't know, like what's next? Something else will come along. It will fix itself or turn itself around. So I mean, it's just one of those little gaps that opened up that they had to, manage for a little bit, obviously, and doesn't mean something else won't pop up in the near future or something else won't become more popular down the line.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe it'll have a return too. Like this could be, I don't know, temporary, or maybe they make it more of like a bigger loop, and then it can be like more, I don't know, just better in some way. I really don't know
I
how
mean,
they. Yeah.
The thing that I'd like to see, right? Because I understand that they need to control inflationary dust sources, right?
Yeah.
But instead of just nerfing it so that the dusk isn't worth it, you replace that with non-dusk rewards, right? So you can go get a bunch more resource tokens or a bunch of other resources that aren't dusk, so that if you high roll it, right, you're not getting a whole bunch more dust. You're just getting more resources, and that way it doesn't feel as bad when on average you may or may not break even, right? You could potentially lose running a task, because that also disincentivizes people from running the task. And then when you have people go flooding to other tasks, if you still
Mhm.
have tasks that have those sources of dusk, then you're just shifting the problem from one place to another, and then just like sort of getting rid of the benefits of having that task in the first place, right? Because most people who are running Mars BNB might look at it as like, okay, well, maybe it's not good to run this task anymore. So there goes your market for food and water, right? And they're going to go shift it somewhere else. But then that's going to become a problem. So they're going to end up nerfing that. And then you're just chasing, this never ending problem or until you nerf everything and nothing is worth doing, which I don't think, they want to do that. But just, I think shifting the rewards from a solely dusk oriented task to one that gives you some other material reward that you can eventually trade for dusk, right? But it's not a direct just creation of dusk.
So are you
Yeah.
suggesting maybe, and this is just my understanding of it, that maybe you get a random reward from Mars B&B which says, do you know what? Out of this one, you got 3 PVC, 6 steel, and 8, I don't know, empty cells, and you just end up with a whole load of stuff which you could then make into something else, and that would kind of spread around. All I'm thinking is that if you did that and you ended up, for example, the canteen has got loads of different inputs for different tasks at different points in time and day,
Mhm.
you could almost sort of randomize which tasks are then needed to use those bits, which could then gain you more or less profit just by
Yeah,
spreading it all around with random rewards.
yeah, something like that. And then also, I mean, I know that they have this idea of pools, right? Dust pools that are it's going to help the problem, right? So they don't have to continuously do this nerfing dust thing, right? It'll just build up. People move in shifts, and then the dust pools will adjust themselves on their own. Um, but I think as an intermediary step, maybe something saying, "Hey, here's some non-dust rewards that may or may not make this feel better." Um, and it
How
like
It
How
could be an
about
option.
something like you get a token for a spin on the resource wheel, and you just click it, and you get a load of different resources on this wheel, a bit like the bazaar, I suppose, and you get a
Mhm.
resource dice roll, and depending what you
Yeah.
roll on it, you could get a sheet of PVC or a lump of metal or
Maybe
rover wheels or yeah.
some water. It could be like a real B&B. You never know what people are going to leave behind when they exit, right? So,
Yeah, exactly. Or even like if it took a specific like skill level too, maybe you had to have like three, skills above 50 or whatever it may be. Who knows? Maybe there's a little bit more, you know, build that has to go into
Hmm.
that. Because even to do the Mars B and B and stuff, you've got to be, your habitat's got to be pretty high up, anyways. So it's like,
Mhm.
not just any player can get access to that. It's somebody who's already kind of put some stake in the game and time into the game.
Hmm. And you could sort of step that into a little mini game, I suppose. You could end up with, okay, let's spin this coin, and right, we get an advance to the next level
Mhm.
kind of spin, and you get better rewards in that one, and yeah, next one is worth a bit like the rover missions, I suppose. But I think there's lots of clever stuff that you could do,
But
like
even giving out loot, like Thinker was saying, like imagine if you could just get some shards, or get some steel, or get some coffee, or baju, or just some
Mhm.
cool little thing that you might not really get. You know what I mean? In other
hmm,
things.
Your habitat breaks. 1%
oh,
chance.
don't go
No,
to that.
Come on, man. 1% chance.
No
Hey,
way.
you got to
Zero
get a
point
habitat before you start talking about
zero
that. All right?
point one
Oh my
percent
word.
chance.
Why on earth would your habitat break? There's a
Well, okay, Mars B&B, somebody rented it who they just trashed the place. They're a rock star. It just things went, they had too much baju tea. Maybe the tea was fermented a little too much and they got really drunk. You never know.
I'm liking
Oh
this, man. Now
dear.
you're
Yeah.
bringing like this real life thing into it. Like, why would someone want to do it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe my habitat will break. Maybe they had a crazy party. Let's find out.
You
I
never
mean,
know.
there is the entertainment profession, so it'd be a
Hmm.
nice tie-in.
Right? Yeah. What is
Oh,
that going to be? Is that going to be gallery stuff? What is going to be entertainment
that is a very good question.
It's
or
gonna be people
entrepreneurship?
giving massages.
Yeah. Now you're talking my language. Felix needs one,
Mars.
by the
Oh,
way.
don't. I still need one.
Yeah. If
Really
you're in the
do.
UK, find Felix, give him a massage.
He'll pay you in dusk.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you what, I want to take 1,000 dusk out this week. But
Mhm.
yeah,
You
I'll
gonna do
pay
it?
that for a massage. I, do you know what? The tax thing was kind of a blessing and a nerf at the same time, because
Yeah.
I hadn't taken anything out. But what it kind of encouraged me to do was to take 500 dusk out every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Just because I thought, well, it's there, and I'm not using this timer. I mean, this game's a whole load of timers, and I thought, well, that's another timer I can use. Why not? So it's
Hmm.
just, I'm not selling it. I'm just taking it outside the game because I may want to buy something else with it later or whatever. But it's just a little nest. I mean, 500 dust doesn't make an awful lot of difference.
Right.
So why not
Hmm.
just take a little bit out here or there, and Bitcoin's well down. I can stash it in that for a little bit, and
Hmm.
I don't know,
Makes
something
sense.
interesting might happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And if a lot of people started doing that, then it would definitely help the economy. And you don't. If you're thinking you're going to take out a bunch of money in dusk, it's like, what do you think that's really going to do to the game? You're just going to, flatten it for a little bit, and cause everybody to be all like, "Whoa, what's going on?"
Yeah, yeah.
I have
But yeah, no,
too many things I want to do with Dusk right now. So I'm building
Yeah,
a
same here.
DTM. I gotta buy I'm gonna do rares only. So or above, whatever, for this DTM. And I just want to have a nice massive space to myself. And yeah, and just make sure they're all nice and big lands. So
Yeah, I see too much opportunity with Dusk to take it out. I'm all into just, adding to it, investing in the in-game marketplace,
mm-hmm.
upgrading the buildings. I mean, even getting a couple extra slots and reducing your time in your tasks is huge for what you want to do.
I must admit, I am tempted with a few Metis shields. there's a couple of plots I'm looking at going, do you know what? A couple of rare Metis shields here
Mhm.
and there would really do me some favors.
Yeah.
And I'd like some clarity whether they're going to do the upgrade on it, because I don't really want to put them on there without knowing that that's it. So if they will upgrade the Metis shields between rare to the higher tiers by some mechanism, I think that'd
Hmm.
be quite nice to understand. But yeah,
Yeah. Rare's pretty good though.
I
What, the common's like what, 15 space? What's the rare?
Rare's
50.
50, yeah. Yeah,
50? That's
I think they're
pretty
a little too
good.
new. Like they're too new to really know what's going on with them. I almost was gonna get
Mhm.
something, but then the rare was the only thing that made sense, and they're not
Mhm.
even really available. So, and what do you need? Like a fabrication thing or a recipe to go with them? Is that how it works? To use it to install it?
Yeah,
Hmm?
yeah.
No,
So
Got to install
you
it.
just install. Yeah,
no, just
just
to make it the
Yeah.
recipe.
Oh, you don't have to
But
be like a certain level to actually have it like on your plot.
no,
I didn't know if you had to be a level and like
Mhm.
something to put it on the plot.
no.
but yeah, certainly from my point of view, I've got 3 separate little areas which I've built up. One was my first one, and then I ended up with a load of lands and grabbed the next one, and then I've had to do the same again. And they're all surrounded. I can't get hold of any more lands, and it's the Metis Shield is very nice for that bit of expansion. I would just make my own. I've got the skill and I've got the recipe and I've got all of that stuff to do it,
Nice.
and they are quite expensive.
Mhm.
Um, but I understand why it's in the game, because me going to get some extra land in another area, I just can't be bothered. It'll be a
Makes sense.
4th area to manage, and I was just like, nah.
Right.
Um,
Speaking of
but yeah,
management, what do you guys think of the land overview button? That's got to help if you have lands all over the place and all kinds of buildings. It's got red dots on it if there is a task available. I don't know if you've seen this yet, Mikey, or not. This is a new change that
Yeah,
just came out.
I was just checking it out earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely like it. It's a lot more fluid. You can kind of, just click back and see what you need to do. You got the dots, you've got the icons for what's on the plots. So yeah, I really like it. I think it was definitely necessary. There's a couple like, slow points when you're going to, check on your stuff. So I think this definitely expedites that and makes it a lot easier to navigate for sure.
Oh, definitely.
I like it.
See, I just found some red dots right now, and I didn't have to thumb through my profile, load all that mess. I just loaded up my land overview. So that's cool.
I
yeah,
think it's
it's
quicker
nice.
to get to, and it's just to me it feels better than having to go into the profile.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it is
it's a
nice.
Agreed.
quick load too. It's not even like you have to wait long or change a page. It just boop
Mhm.
pops right up.
Yeah. I might keep it up and then, check it, see if I got anything up. If I don't, and carry on about my day. You know what I mean? Like Felix used to keep, well, he probably still does, but he would have like lots of tabs for each place. And like
Yeah,
maybe for the marketplace and maybe for like the different lands. Now you have that land overview. That should alleviate some of that. Just keep that up.
um,
You'll probably still have them all
yes,
open, but yeah.
yeah. I mean, for me, it's the flipping between all of them, because
Mm-hmm.
I've got pirate radios in one area, I've got power in another area, I've got
Mm-hmm.
manufacturing buildings in another area, so I'm flipping between them quite a lot.
Yeah.
Um, it, it is useful for an overarching, um, what do I need to have a look at? Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I'll still keep the multiple tabs open.
Gotcha. Good change though. I love it. Makes it a little bit
I mean,
easier.
it's showing good development, it's showing good thought. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
all good news.
Yeah, it's clean too. Like it looks sharp. I
Yeah.
like it. Let's see here. All right, we got 2 topics we could pick from. We got tax evasion or today's update.
Today's
What's this?
update.
Oh, I
Okay.
was gonna say tax evasion. All right. We'll
They
go for
both
that
sound good.
second.
Yeah, well, okay. So can we
I
do
was
a
like,
little
what's
bit
this
on both then?
tax evasion?
Yeah.
No, go with Felix. We'll go with it. We'll save the
You
tax evasion.
okay? You want me to start first, and then because I know some people have
Yeah.
some different points of view than me, and I like it. So for me,
Got
and
me.
I know a lot of people have talked about this in Discord too. Now with the player crafted buildings, lands, and other things, tools, whatever, any NFT that you can mint, you have a way to avoid the tax bracket by not taking out Dusk and instead minting a building, minting a land, minting a tool or whatever, or even a pack of There's all kinds of packs. What engineering bay kit. Now there's going to be a shard kit, I think, for the machine shop or something coming soon. And that provides a loophole to potentially dodge some taxes. So what do you guys think? Good idea, bad idea? We're talking in game, obviously, just for, YouTube.
I think it's a brilliant idea.
Okay.
And the reason being is, so to create the item, you spend dusk in game, and you go through an element of either you make it all yourself or you buy bits from the market, so you're consuming dusk. Then create the item, and say you take it out to wax and you sell it on wax, you have not touched the actual Alcor exchange for dusk. You haven't affected the price in any way.
Right.
You've created fluid or liquidity within the market for Million and Mars assets in Atomic or wherever else you might be. Nefty, definitely Nefty. Yeah, so you're not reducing the price of dusk at all. I think it's brilliant.
Anyone else
I
have
think,
thinker?
yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's good from that perspective. I also think that it's not as huge a savings as people sometimes say that it is because of the liquidity of items, those mintable items on the market, right? So by the time that you go and sell the item, it may or may not sell for a couple days, if not longer, and then price may or may not stay the same that you built the item for. So you might actually end up losing dusk than if you would have just paid the taxes for taking it out. But, so I think it just depends on the item and the liquidity for that item.
That comes down to how much tax you're going to have to pay to take that volume of dusk out. Because some of these packs, I mean, I don't know how much the land pack goes for these days, but you're going to be up at 40%, I would have thought.
Is there a land pack on the market? Can someone check? I can't. Well, I can, but I shouldn't.
Hold on. I'll have a look.
Yeah, if someone can pull it up.
I think it's a good, loophole, something that could be used. I mean, if it will actually work out in the manner that you're thinking, I think it's definitely a possibility. I think we'll just have to see more ahead into the future. I love it. I think it's a great avenue. Think about it. You can come into a game, produce your own NFTs, and sell them. If that's all you wanted to do, if you got to a certain level and you're just like, hey, I'm an NFT printing machine, just printing out things for Million on Mars. I think it's a cool thing to do. It's another avenue for somebody to just take.
So it's 1250 wax. So 1,250 wax is the cheapest on Nefty at the moment.
1,200. How many dollars is that roughly?
120.
Wow.
So it's quite expensive. I think even if you, I haven't done the sums on them.
Have any sold?
But you could put it. Hold on.
Because that is one thing I think everyone kind of touched on it, but volume. Obviously, depending on what you're making or minting, check the volume. Just see if it's there or not. That'll kind of help protect you too. If there's like no movement for days, then you might want to craft something else. It just depends what your goals are.
So none have been sold.
None have been sold. Okay.
So I mean, those are expensive. I mean, I'd probably look at half that price.
And they are new.
But even,
to be fair, I think it's only been a little bit of time since they've been available. Yeah. Okay.
So, but no, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think it gives an alternative. I think it gives people a mechanism by which to withdraw, not necessarily into the dusk market and destroying our liquidity there. Yeah.
Nice.
I quite like it. But yeah, Thinker is absolutely right. You've got to make sure you get your money's worth. And you understand the reason why you're doing it. Because if it is as a mechanism to move dusk out the game, is it the most sensible way of doing it, or is just withdrawing the amount you're trying to withdraw out a better way of doing it?
I think for me, this isn't quite tax evasion, but I like the mintable part of it because it's something I can give away versus if I create it in game, I can't really pass it to somebody. And it's for me, like I do content, so it's nice to give away some things sometimes. And a land pack would be definitely a nice thing to give away. Yeah. Which we do have one to give away from Undisputed Noobs.
If did anyone respond to it?
Yeah, we got at least 3 or 4 comments that are qualified based off the
Okay,
question.
cool.
If you want to check, and we'll let you be the deciding factor. I read them, but I just don't want to decide because some of the people I know too well, and I'd be like, you know what I mean?
All right. So
I'm biased
let me
or
see if I can
based.
find it.
One of the two. I don't know what's the right word for it, but I'm
Biased.
there you go, biased. What do we have? What else was on today's update? Anyone have that pulled up? Anything
I
noteworthy?
think we talked about most of it. Right? Broken tools, machining things,
Copper parts, steel.
hab stuff,
Mm-hmm.
or Mars B&B stuff. Some fixes, but we haven't talked about the leaks,
Oh,
Oh yeah.
that's right.
achievements, and missions,
I
which I
like.
think we had mentioned last time. I was like, what about achievements, right? And I'm glad that
Mhm.
this is something that is being worked on and pursued, right? Just because it gives you something else to think about that isn't Dusk all the time, right? And
Absolutely.
Yeah, it says, did somebody suggest whatever it is here in whatever you said?
yeah,
Somebody
achievements.
did somebody suggest achievements? Right there in the announcements. It's funny. You might have something to do with that. They're watching, man. They're watching.
So
Yeah.
I had a chat with Eric and said you should actually have a look at this. We talked about some good stuff, and he did. He watched all of it. So fair play to the devs. They are absolutely engaged with the community. They are
Mm-hmm.
wanting to see our opinions and our voices, and yeah, I mean they listen to all of it. So yeah, whether we influenced or not,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of doesn't matter to me. But
Yeah,
certainly the fact that they're willing to listen, at least, yeah,
that's huge.
go. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
massive.
even just to listen and and I think some of it too, just like to know what their players are thinking and what they're going through. Kind of like, I don't know, it puts them on the other side of the fence, right? Because they're on one side, we're on one side, and it might not be like exactly like that because I think they play the game too and they enjoy it just as much as us. But I don't know, it's cool. It's cool to know that
Okay,
they're watching.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I've got some comments here.
Okay.
So K, is
Yeah.
this Meta K?
No, it's
Oh,
okay.
a different K. Okay. What I'd like to see in the game that does not cost dusk is, so the question, just going back to it, is um, what would you like to see in the game which isn't dusk based, if I remember from memory? Um, and he or she was saying research, the research on how to make items or what you need to make a full loop. I don't quite know whether that's research papers or recipes, or something else. I mean,
Yet
we
it's
don't need to.
the answer seemed a little hard to understand based on the question that we were asking.
Yeah.
I think the question was, what could you be rewarded instead of something that was dusk, right? I think Steve was kind of saying everything's
Mm,
basically for dusk. Like we need something we can chase that's not dusk. And what could that be? I think that was the question.
mm.
Yeah.
Well, it was due something you'd like to see in the game that isn't
Mhm.
Dusk related,
Like
right? That isn't
achievements. I think
pursuing Dusk.
achievements is kind of tied
Yep.
into that. Missions as well. They might be dusk on the other side of those things, but more things like that would be cool. But there was a couple more answers too. You got one pulled up?
Yeah. Yeah. There was this reference to Outpost 2 from Paul. Um, yeah, I think we did have a quick look at that, and there's lots of stuff certainly the team could pull
Mhm.
upon.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and he's saying he did do his 3 whacks to Digi.
He
So
did.
our campaign is working.
That's
Fantastic.
awesome. There was a few people who said that, I think, in the comments.
Yeah.
So I think I've seen a few DMs too that said that
Yeah. No,
as
it's
well.
good.
Yep.
It's good.
But there's a few more. I know
Uh,
there's a few more
uh,
that were like real kind of what we were looking for.
just trying to. I can't read quick enough.
That's okay.
What did Nerd say?
One thing we
Oh
could
yeah, Nerd
chase.
had one.
Okay.
One thing that I'd like to see added to the game that wouldn't involve dust would be a building that once placed on land that takes up 0 space called the hub. Once you click on this building, it would give you the choice to choose a martisan and enter. Once you hit enter, it would load up a VR-like cantina or bar that we walk around and chat with other MoM players. Metaverse in a single building.
Heck
But I think
yeah.
it'd be a huge thing to help the community grow. Yeah, I mean that sort of community hub I think is great, and I'm a big proponent for anything
Mm-hmm.
guild related or community based. That's certainly one of my big drivers.
That'd be cool.
In-game meetings outside of Discord. Yeah.
Yeah. I think if they start like with like a guild chat like that would be cool. Before like maybe all
Yeah.
chat. All chat might be a little too much, but at least a guild chat, you know,
Yeah.
or settlement
Cell,
chat.
Cell Power says something fun that doesn't involve having a weekly mission to complete. Yeah, do you know what? Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the reward would be,
Right. Right.
but certainly that weekly mission. It's
Mm-hmm.
a different sort of gameplay, isn't it? And that's kind of the gist of what we were getting to.
Yeah.
But certainly having something which isn't just revolving around dust generation. Yeah.
Yeah, weekly missions, that'd be cool. That's like real MMOs. They have weeklies, monthlies, dailies, things like that.
Could
I
even do
miss-
something around like stamina based. Is there anything that we can do besides the coffee stuff? Like, is there any mission that can give you like extra stamina? Maybe there's a gymnasium or something. You got to go work out. And you can spend a couple stamina to earn stamina. Or I don't know, something. Who knows?
Oh, I know. Well, no, because the same thing as charging power cells. But so you can spend stamina. You know how you can charge those bikes with the power cells? You can go run a bike a mile or something and charge a power cell.
Nice.
There you go. I like that. Yeah, I'm sure they could just kind of do anything they want. I think it's cool that we're all talking about it and bringing it into play because that's what we need. We got to
Mm-hmm.
protect the dusk price and provide the entertainment level of the game and the value as well.
Absolutely.
Oh. Well, I'm a big community guy. I kind of like the hub thing.
The Hub VR chat thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's coming out next week. Watch out. Felix is going to pull his weight.
Yeah.
It was a lot of weight.
They have
But
mentioned
yeah.
VR before, so it's
It's
on the
they've
list.
got their Steam thing, haven't they?
Yeah, and they did. I think they mentioned it in a recent AMA. You'd have to go back on their site and check, but I think it's with Jumpgate, Kyle, and Mitch, maybe, or Eric. I forget. I have to watch it again.
Right.
But yeah.
So we've got K's submission. We've got Crypto Nerd submission. We've got Cell Power submission. Have I missed anybody? I don't think so.
Jason F, I think.
Oh, have I missed Jason's? Oh, he's going to kill me.
What Jason say? We had to be non-biased. That's why I couldn't.
Yeah,
pick.
I know.
There'll be
so we'll
other
stick Jason there.
opportunities. There'll be other opportunities.
Right, so I'm going to number them.
Okay.
Okay, so I've done it in my head. I am doing this legitimately. Somebody pick a number between 1 and 4.
It's supposed to be the best comment, though. That was Steve's
3.
stipulation.
They're all good.
He did say best comment. Yeah, we can't. That's
did he?
random. He said best comment.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Let Mikey decide. Let Mikey decide.
Okay. Okay, Mikey.
Go there, Mikey.
I said 3. So whatever you got for 3.
What have I got for 3? That's Jason.
Did we even hear his comment?
So what was his comment?
Yeah, but I don't
Good
think we can do
stuff,
that because it's supposed to be best comment.
In which case, for me, it's got to be the hub. I'm
Okay.
community driven.
Yeah.
I think the hub is a good idea too, for
All
sure.
right. So it's going to Crypto Nerd. Congrats, Nerd.
Yes.
And we yeah.
Decision making at its finest.
We'll be doing another one. So another comment, I will give a land away. And I'm crafting 3 lands probably this week.
Are you going to give the pack or are you going to give the land?
The pack.
Oh.
Well, no, I might open all 3 and give the best land. I think that's the way to go. Which is horrible for me if I pull a legendary. But great for somebody else. So I'm crafting 3 lands this week. And whatever land is best will go to a comment down below. But you have to be like a part of this game. You can't just be Joe Blow from YouTube. You got to be, somebody who's on Mars doing things. So we will verify. So yep.
I've got a couple of ways which I think you can verify it. So yeah,
100%.
Play in the game.
It's blockchain. Yeah, we can see it.
Is there any specific comment or is it just like hi?
Okay, yeah. Something about the video? That you liked.
Let's go with just hi.
Yeah.
You're gonna pick
Just
from everybody
hi?
who says hi.
No,
Just hi.
No,
come on.
Tell us what you liked, what you didn't
I'm
like,
kidding,
or
I'm
where you
kidding.
agreed and where you disagreed, right? Like, whether or not you like everybody on the panel or not, that's one thing. But there could be some things you agree with and some things you disagree with. Just let us know what those are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We all have different perspectives. We all have different different investments,
Play
you know,
styles
and
and
play styles, and yeah, you know, everyone's just a little bit different. So
So if somebody gets the most dislikes, does it mean we're uninvited from the podcast?
no, no, no.
I don't know what you're worried about, Thinker. It'll be me who gets it.
Just get your cameras back up.
Yeah,
I need,
the ones
no,
with
I
our
need to
cameras
change
are
it.
gone.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, sorry about that.
And yeah. And Thinker's the most tech savvy guy here. He should definitely have a cool camera.
I'm gonna say he's the
100%.
brains.
Yeah, the brains.
I'm invisible.
I think he writes code for a living. You know. All right. So we have a few more things. I guess things to be happy about. I put red dots are back on Martisans and they work for everybody again. So I love seeing that because it makes it a hell of a lot easier to remember to feed them. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with ball bearings.
Ball bearings.
Absolutely. It's just different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Something new. Something seems to be opening the door to a whole different part of this. So yeah, ball bearings for me.
Nice.
I'm in love with just the constant newness that comes into this game. So I just love the update from that little screen. What was it? The land screen there. Just all the constant little things that they do, and the things that are leading to the progression of this game.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea of broken tools as someone who just reached 100 level scavenging. I'm looking forward to getting some broken tools and seeing what can happen with those.
Congrats on that, by the way.
Yeah, nice job, mate.
You're also
Thank you.
Really good work.
a new founder, I've heard.
Oh yes, I saw that.
Congratulations.
That is true.
All right,
Thank you.
Welcome
Santi,
to
you
the
and me,
team.
got to get in, Santi. We got to get our founder's token.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a steal, you know, less than half price, more than 50% off the original price of a founder's token. I mean,
Oh yeah, I've been watching them.
What are they right now?
$350. I think I
$350?
saw one for.
Dang,
Yeah,
that's
okay,
a
so the floor came up a little bit, yeah.
So you bought yours for
It's
$250?
Mm-hmm.
Dang, you got a steal.
Hold
They'll
on, I'm just
drop it.
checking.
Mm-hmm.
$310.
I'm
$310.
sure.
Yeah, I'm tempted. I want to get some more.
You do?
I've only got one. Yeah. The reason being is that there's the 5% reduction on glitter withdrawals from having the founder's token.
Oh.
You need 5 for that. There's the glitter rewards for owning the token, bit like the Martisan, but you get some of that with the glitter token. So although the actual pack drops themselves are coming to end,
Yeah.
there is some other reasons why you would want to have one. And I think they'll probably do some more with it later on.
I thought
I don't.
Glitter Founder would give you those glitter benefits.
It does as well. So
Okay.
so they both do.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I want both.
Yeah, I want
Yeah.
both as well. And to be honest, it's the real reason why I'm sneaking out dusk, because I want to get, because I think you'll have to buy those outside the game. So yeah, I'm trying to get a stash of stuff. I want to buy some more Founders tokens. That needs wax. I would like to buy Glitter Founder. That needs something. Wax
You
or
probably
soul
need
or
soul, I imagine.
potentially. Yeah, I don't know yet.
Yeah, I mean it's probably the highest chance of the 3 options.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Well, anything else anyone wants to throw in there? Otherwise, we can wrap this up.
Oh yeah. So Thinker touched on the leak, which was the achievements.
Yes.
The other part of that was the missions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's some big fun to be had there. I mean, certainly some of the stuff that they could do there with long quest chains and going around lots of different loops and trying to hit rare. You could do loads of that. And I'm really looking forward to that.
You're going to get your giant spaghetti monster that you're going to have to shoot down with a big laser.
I'm up for that. Give me a big spaghetti monster any day of the week.
That'd be cool.
Hey guys, I got to jump off. It was great hanging out there. I got to run. I got to make a call.
Hey, no problem, man.
But
Thanks for
look
coming.
forward to seeing you guys next week. And yeah, thanks for an awesome call, Thinker, Felix. Good to hang with you guys. Santi, always a good time, my friend. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.
All right, man.
All right.
Catch you later, mate.
Thank you.
Yeah, those missions should be cool. My face moved again. I gotta look this way. Okay. It keeps doing that to me. It's a good thing I got options. My camera's right in the middle, which is why it presents this problem. So
But the other side's the good side.
It is, right? I gotta flip the camera back.
Yeah.
Need a haircut. Yeah, I think missions would be cool. Quests or what was the other thing? Achievements too. I know somebody was saying something about owning a piece of land on every DTM. Obviously, maybe not the ones that are like specifically claimed by people, but I don't know. That could be a thing. Own one piece of land on public DTMs.
I mean, well, you could
I
do
know.
anything with it, can't you? The options are endless.
Mm-hmm. Now it's got me like hunting for lands that, on places I don't own. Yeah. Like
I don't think that can be a thing.
Scoop up some
really,
cheap ones. It might be. Hey, if the floor price of lands goes up, you know why?
Mhm.
You know what? Let's see here.
You heard it here first.
That's right. It's coming. Get all the lands you can, guys. Buy the floor. No, I'm kidding.
Well, they were talking about the land hand-in, weren't they? Which was like a buyback for the cheap lands, because they were saying that there was an issue with all the lands that came out with sunflowers, and they want to try and reclaim some of that. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was something which happened later about that reclamation of lands, which gave you in-game dusk or something else.
I think, wasn't it like dead lands that are planted, but like no one's doing anything with them or something like that?
That's right.
Yeah. That'd be cool. Here's one thing I'd like, and maybe it's not possible, but I think everything's possible in a way. But so we have this thing where we can basically make an offer to someone who owns a land, right?
Mhm.
And I think right now that offer goes into Atomic. I'm not too sure. I think it does.
Yep.
But on Atomic side, they don't have it's hard to see that notification, because if you're not looking in that specific trading window, you won't see that you have a new offer. So it'd be nice if it showed in game. So like if say you have a land, Felix, and I'm like, oh, I got to have that piece, for whatever reason, I offer you whatever. And then you get something either in your inbox or some kind of dot, whatever color, that says, hey, this person wants to acquire this land from you. Oh, my camera.
Yeah, we were having camera trouble.
Yes.
This is why I don't use one.
Yeah, so I want an in-game notification that somebody's trying to buy your land. And at least that would help for people who are active. It wouldn't help if someone's not playing, but it would help between, people who play.
Yeah, I don't know how hard it would be to have an in-game sort of mailbox. I mean, we've got the in-game inbox, but to be able to drop a message in there which isn't spam and
Yeah, and then maybe you'd have to have some kind of timeouts and stuff like that, like no means no kind of thing or whatever. But you know what I mean? Because then you could just, if you deny it, then I could just resubmit it. You don't want that, but at least have it, maybe once every month or whatever. I'm gonna bug you once a month.
Yeah, I mean, so I used to play Prospectors a little bit, and they had something similar.
Okay,
and it worked quite well.
Well, if that team can do it, I know this team can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just kidding. Exactly. I don't know. I don't know how good they weren't, but
are you also throwing down a challenge to the MoM Dead team?
I think so. Yeah, I want to see this within 30 days. Timer starts now.
Oh dear.
Account banned.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. Oh, that's crazy. I think we're done. I think we're
done.
good. We're good. Okay, let's take a break. Good chat.
Yes.
Oh, if anyone ever wants to come on, please let me know. We're welcome to having other guests, other opinions, other thoughts. And that is all. We'll see you in the next one.
A lot invested, or maybe you do have a lot invested. We want all opinions from everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're not the same as us, that's brilliant.
Absolutely.
That's what we're after.
Yeah.
So yeah, come share your thoughts.
I'm not a whale, so it's fine.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, even if you're like brand new premium pack, as long as you if you're willing to come chat with us, it's cool, man. Like, it doesn't matter. So, like you said.